All right, so the next one here, House passes a bill that states anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. So if you remember last week, the House passed a bill that said denying Israel's right to exist is anti-Semitism. And the only member of Congress that voted against that bill was Representative Thomas Massie, because his interpretation was that this bill was labeling anti-Zionism as anti-Semitism, and he said he was against that. So after that bill passed, House Republicans introduced another one that explicitly states anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, which is completely absurd considering the amount of anti-Zionist Jews that I know, that I'm sure many of you know. It's just completely ridiculous on its face, but this bill still passed pretty easily through the House, although there was some dissent from Democrats. So this resolution, which was presented as a resolution condemning anti-Semitism, it passed in a vote of 314 to 14. 14 voted against, and 92 Democrats voted present. So that was most of the Democrats' protest, is that they voted present instead of voting against the bill. And again, buried in this bill is a line that says, the House of Representatives clearly and firmly states that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. So what was interesting is that Representative Jerry Nadler, he's a Democrat from New York. He actually used to be my representative when I lived in Midwood, Brooklyn, which is a very Jewish neighborhood, and right next to Borough Park, where there's a lot of Hasidics and Orthodox Jews. And he came out pretty strongly against this language. And he said, quote, "The resolution suggests that all anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. That is either intellectually disingenuous or just factually wrong, and it unfairly implicates many of my Orthodox former constituents in Brooklyn, many of whose families rose from the ashes of the Holocaust." Nadler claimed that most anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, which I disagree with, but he added that if the authors of the bill, quote, "were at all familiar with Jewish history and culture, should know about Jewish anti-Zionism that was and is expressly not anti-Semitic. This resolution ignores the fact that even today, certain Orthodox Hasidic Jewish communities, the Satmars in New York and others, as well as adherents of the pre-state Jewish labor movement, have held views that are at odds with the modern Zionist conception," end quote. And I've seen those Hasidic Jews that, when I lived in New York, I would go to pro-Palestine events and rallies sometimes, and there's usually a group of Hasidic Jews that would show up with signs, Palestinian flags and everything. So Nadler came out strongly against the language, but he voted present. He did not vote against this. And again, this is Nadler. I mean, he's very pro-Israel. He's a total hawk these days. So, this isn't some anti-Israel politician saying this. This is a very pro-Israel politician who said that. So 13 Democrats voted against the bill, mostly progressives, and that included Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush, Gerald Connolly, Jesus Garcia, Raul Grilhalve, I totally butchered that name, Pramila Jayapal, Summer Lee, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Presley, Delia Ramirez, Bonnie Watson, Coleman, and Rashida Tlaib. Some of those names I didn't recognize, but some members of the squad is in there. So Thomas Massie, Republican from Kentucky, he was the only Republican to vote against this bill. The only one that voted against this bill that smeared basically all critics of Israel as anti-Semites. So, it's just really kind of a sad state of affairs that so many people in Congress voted in favor of this bill, but at least there was a little more dissent with this one because it was so explicit. Massie was right about the other bill, but I think it looks like they put this bill up in response to what he did, to what he said. He's being really targeted by the Israel lobby. They're running ads against him in his state. So He did an interview on Glenn Greenwald's show that we put in the blog, Massey, and it was interesting because I haven't really heard him talk much at length about Israel and his position. So if you want to go check that out, we posted it in the blog. That's on Greenwald's show that he puts out on Rumble.